Simon, when you look at the polling, and I don't like to go straight from such a serious issue to polling, but it's the perception of the leadership is really what I'm getting to here. Because Peter Dutton is seen as the strong leader, and the news poll today, Mr Albanese's rating is the lowest in decades when it comes to that particular rating. Is that a concern? Should it be a concern to Labor?
Well, it's on a par with what John Howard had at some points during his career, Kieran. That's what the polling shows today. What it actually shows is that the government's popularity has actually risen slightly. That's what actually it shows. It shows that for the last 12 months, we've essentially been in this situation of around about 50-50 polling between the two major parties. That's what it actually shows. So look, we're going to have a big choice they're going to make in the first 6 months of next year about who's in the best place to govern the country in the next 3 years forward. We're going to hear from Peter Dutton during the course of this week about his plan to put up electricity prices for every single Australian to help drive manufacturing out of this country. I look forward to that discussion kicking off whenever Peter Dutton's ready.
Peter McGauran, you were a member of a government that was behind on many occasions before elections. You remember that, I'm sure, very well, in the Howard government. But Mr Howard was able to have a good campaign and bring it back and win the vast majority of those. Being it's 50-50, does the coalition need to get a bit more momentum heading into 2025?
Oh, definitely, Kieran, but tailwinds seem to be in their sails. And remember, the Resolve poll came out today that has the coalition 51 on a two-party preferred basis to 49, and the Freshwater poll has always had the coalition just over 50%. But leaving aside the two-party preferred polling, because I agree wholeheartedly it's too close to call, John Howard never had personal ratings of this kind, that where Anthony Albanese is the weakest Prime Minister since that category of characteristic started being polled in the Kevin Rudd time. And that's the whole problem for him, that he's seen as weak, Dutton's seen as strong, Albanese's seen on weak on economic management, Dutton's seen as strong, and they're key issues. Now, the holy grail in politics is to frame your opponent, and in government we spent a lot of time and effort framing Kim Beazley, no ticker, Simon Crean, Union's lapdog, Mark Latham, inexperienced, although we ramped that up to erratic. Eventually, it's very hard to frame your opponent, and it's a good opposition because they're united and they've got a strong, capable leader, but they're not that good. Albanese has framed himself as weak. That's the most disturbing and worrying thing for the Labor Party, that Albanese has put himself in exactly this position, not so much the coalition. They're taking advantage of it now, and weakness is in every second attack they launch. But if Labor has to be very worried about the competence of the Prime Minister.
Peter McGauran, Simon Banks, gentlemen, great to see you. We'll catch you next week.